Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
Master of Punk's Tamer of Sages, the king of the ring himself. But your boy Thicky Smalls, Gerard Michaels, in the house. Well done. Handled well.
That was beautiful.
What up, Gas Digital? Welcome back to your favorite Friday show, Slick and Thick. It's your boy Gerard Michaels here. And to my left, at 6'3", 200 pounds, and every one of them is a problem, the master of punks, the tamer of sages, the CEO of the RNC, the king of the ring himself, pretty Mickey Gall. What's up, Mick?
What up, dog? How we
happening?
doing?
I'll tell you how we're doing. I'm excited.
Excited, huh?
We got a big time guest.
Who we've talked about several times.
We've talked about several times.
We have a couple questions to pose to him, but
name your top 5 movies. This dude's in them.
Yo, so let's roll a couple of them right here. We got one of my OG ones. Remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans.
The Great Show. My Name is Earl. American History X.
Gotta have it.
Where else?
Wolf of Wall Street. Come
Wolf
on,
of Wall
dog.
Street.
Wolf
Obviously,
of Wall
that's
Street.
gonna.
Clerks. Mallrats.
Boy Meets World.
Boy Meets World. It's easier to name.
Dog.
It's easier to name the stuff he hasn't been in, man.
That's right.
Mickey, you're not old enough to have watched Boy Meets World
I watched it. Oh, I watched it
in reruns.
in reruns.
Yeah.
In reruns.
That
You're right.
makes sense.
Correct. To my left, none other, the man, the myth, the legend, Ethan Suplee in the house.
Thank you for having me.
Big friend
And
of
the
program.
host,
Big
the
friend
host
program.
of the American Glutton podcast.
Pleasure to be
Dude,
here.
big time podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Dude, amazing to have you here. Where do we even begin here, Mick? Let's start as we always do because we are professionals. Let's start at the very beginning. It's a very good place to start.
Agreed.
Tell us about yourself, Ethan. Are you circumcised?
No,
Nice.
I'm not
How
circumcised.
about that?
Congratulations.
Because my parents were hippies.
All natural, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you a
one
natural
of the
birth?
first. I think
I was a
one of the
natural
first.
birth.
Natural
Yeah.
birth?
In Manhattan, 4 blocks from St. Vincent's.
Wow.
Yeah.
They just, that's it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Living room floor.
Mom had a gig in the village later that night, went to it.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Came out, got carpet and lint on you.
Yep.
They had the child off to the Sherpa, and then they went to the Dylan show down on Greenwich Ave.
Yeah. And
Nice,
then no snipping.
No sniffing. Nice.
Snipping.
That too.
Of the foreskin.
That too. You want to avoid sniffing foreskin, right, Omri? All right.
well,
So
there's a lot of good to not being uncircumcised, right? It protects the end of your dick, makes it more sensitive. Sex feels better, right?
totally.
Right?
I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know
because
any other
I'm not-
way.
Yeah, I wouldn't know any other way. And
I imagine it helps with docking.
So ours is like knocking around in our
impossible without
jeans.
it, right?
Is docking even possible?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
You can make it happen.
You know what?
You gotta pull hard. You gotta believe.
You see, this is if you I know you're a big fan of the show and you listen all the time, but this is the eternal optimism of Mickey Gall.
Right.
This is why people tune
You
in.
can make it happen.
I'm the
You can
doom
do
and
it.
gloom, and he's the bright side, Mr. Brightside over there. You can do it. Listen to the Gas Digital people listening right now. If your dream is to dock without foreskin, Mickey Gall says you can make it happen.
I do.
yeah,
I saw my name on that all day.
Absolutely. So, Ethan, tell us about growing up, man. You were in New York, L.A., all over the place?
I was born in New York, but moved very quickly to L.A. and raised in L.A.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were raised by performing parents, correct?
No, they basically left acting when I was born. It
was your fault.
They felt it wasn't a good environment for children, which I couldn't disagree with them.
Yeah. I don't know. Corey Feldman might disagree.
Right.
Actually, I think he probably really very much agrees.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I do look back now at every movie from the 90s, and Dakota Fanning was in all of them.
She was in a lot.
She was in all of them.
90s, yeah.
Do you think? Yeah, but there's no way. There's just no way you can be around that environment. Like, I'm in the lower levels of entertainment now at my age, and it's impossible to maintain any sense of reality or perspective.
It's really weird because you go to any set and it's just like any workplace with a lot of adults, and then to just put a child in amongst them and expect that they're going to be able to interact with adults, it is odd. Mm-hmm. I don't know that it's a great place to have kids.
Yeah.
Like child actors.
Yeah. I mean, there's there is no other job. Like, you couldn't have a child director. I mean, I suppose you could construct some fantasy world where you let a kid basically pretend to direct something, but like, you can't have a child electrician or a child grit. you know what I mean?
Yeah, they got rid of child coal miners a couple years ago.
But you can,
when chimney sweeps. But that's the only one. That's interesting. I wonder. So it makes you wonder if like the Hollywood angle in the child acting, or is it like child working? You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like, that's the only job really where a child works now,
in America, anywally. They're still working in the mines other places. Pretty
in America, the only job is like a YouTube star or an actor, which is both basically the same job.
That's true. Very true. Yeah. What do you think about streaming now, man? You've done television, you've done film. What do you think about the new streaming world that we have?
I did a show for Hulu a few years ago. I guess we started shooting it in 2015 or 2016. And when they brought me the show and said, "Hey, there's interest in you for this show," I literally said to my agents, like, I don't want to be on an internet show. Like, this is like what we're doing, something for YouTube, and I just didn't realize, I had no idea what Hulu was at the time. Like, Hulu wasn't what it is now.
Yeah.
And now, they're making the best shows. HBO, Amazon. I just did a show for Amazon, Netflix. Like, the best show isn't on ABC anymore. It's on a streaming platform.
The game has changed.
Yeah, very much.
Changed for sure.
Well, even it was evolving.
Like HBO's got great ones. You know what I mean? It's all the it's either like what would they be, the like HBO's and the Showtimes
streaming platforms. Streaming.
Well, I mean, most people stream them, but they weren't cable. What were
it's
they?
called
like,
OTT. You're talking about premium.
Right.
HBO would be premium, but like my experience with HBO now is just HBO.com on
HBO
my TV.
Go or whatever it is.
HBO Max. I don't even have cable. I haven't had cable in years and years and years.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
But check me out on OAN tonight if you do have cable. OAN at 6, even though this is coming out 2 days after tonight. Fuck. All right.
Idiot. Shit.
But we, shout out, no shout out. Big friend of the program, Chaz Palminteri. We had him on, and he said something very similar. He was presented with this show, and he had just done, some of the best movies of the early 90s. And he's like, I'm not doing TV.
Yeah.
And they're like, you really want to look at the script. You really want to look at the script. And after he turned down the role, they had casted it with James Gandolfini, and it turned out to be The Sopranos.
Right.
And then he's like, he was really gracious, though. Chaz is the man. And he's like, well, you know what? That's the only time in my life I wanted a role, and I think it went to somebody who deserved it. Gandolfini crushed that.
Yeah.
But they wanted Tony Soprano to be Chaz Palminteri.
Sure.
But he was hesitant of, what am I doing this TV thing? In his mind, he was thinking it was a step down.
Right. It was. I mean, it was back
for
then.
a minute, right?
Listen, there was a weird point where I was only doing movies. I then my career started with Boy Meets World. I did that for a few years. Then I was just doing movies. And for 10 years, all I did was movies. And then
tough life, bud.
I had a bunch of kids, and my wife was like, "Listen, I'm not following you to Romania for 7 months. Do something in LA." And the only real thing you have with consistency in Los Angeles is TV. So I went and did TV, and then at that time it was kind of hard to go back to movies. Like, movies became somewhat disinterested at that point.
Yeah. It seems like it happens in waves. Like, all of the best actors went to film, and then you were a movie star, and then everybody went into TV, and then TV looked down on reality, and now everybody has like their own reality show, or they're trying to get into a reality thing, or or host a game show, and it's weird. It's like
there was like a difference of prestige between like a film actor and like a TV actor.
Yeah,
but that's gone.
I think so.
No, not necessarily.
You don't think so?
You couldn't get Tom Cruise in a TV show. You couldn't get Leonardo DiCaprio in a TV show. There are still movie stars, but go a peg or two below those guys, and everybody's doing TV.
That's a good point. Yeah, you saw like McConaughey and
he'll do TV.
Yeah, he'll do like okay, that's interesting. So you say that line's kind of at DiCaprio and Cruise.
The top. You just can't pay those guys enough to do TV. First of all, like, those guys make so much money that it would be impossible to pay them enough to do a television show. But then everybody else gets paid so little that doing television, you wind up making quite a bit more. So it's just that weird gap right there.
Okay. Is there anybody else you'd throw in that echelon?
I'm sure there is. I mean,
Tom Hanks hasn't done any TV, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think he has. I mean, that's not true.
Johnny Depp?
He did Band of Brothers, but he also directed some of those. He was an executive producer, so he probably owned a piece of that. And that was kind of before the heyday. That was a mini series. It's a little bit different than a
The
TV
Rock
series.
did Ballers.
The Rock did Ballers, but did he do Ballers before he was making?
I think so. I think it was before he was like
And he
the
owned the
biggest.
show.
But to your point, he was the executive producer as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so there is still a weird line, but it's a very small,
interesting, yeah.
small amount of people who, you know, I could not Glenn Close, Meryl Streep, who's maybe the greatest actress of all time. I wouldn't even put it past her to see her on a TV show. You know?
Everybody loves her.
She's
Meryl
amazing.
Streep is she's regarded as like almost like the untouchable, like the top of the line.
She is so good.
What makes her so good?
I don't know. I don't know how she does it.
You don't know how to-
I just believe her in everything, and she's like a chameleon.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. You love Meryl Streep too?
I do. But you know, I don't. The movies that she makes, I'm not. They're not really for my demographic. I don't think. I don't really like. I have to go out of my way to see something that Meryl Streep is starring in.
Yeah.
So I can appreciate, you know, what she is to the craft, but I'm also never been like, man, I can name you 5 Meryl Streep movies.
If you go back to
Deer Hunter.
her beginning, Deer Hunter.
Yeah, Deer Hunter was
Sophie's
incredible.
Choice, Ironweed.
Never saw it.
You got to see Sophie's Choice.
Yeah.
It'll fuck you up.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm still recovering from. You see, I can't even say the name of it. Requiem for a Dream, and I saw that like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So you know,
Meryl Streep, she shat on MMA a little bit one time.
Did she?
I think at these an Academy Awards thing. She was like, they have she's like, people need to focus on the arts, not like these like mixed martial arts, like the arts. like saying like that was like trash and like that, you know, the arts.
totally.
You know,
Totally.
yeah. So I might have held that against her a little bit.
Yeah.
but
No,
I
but
gotta check. I gotta.
Listen.
What's up, Meryl Streep? You want to act? You want to act the part?
You don't want beef,
Be
Meryl
about the part.
You
Meryl
open
Streep.
up the hood of any of these people's like thoughts and opinions, you're going to get some shit that rubs you the wrong way. They've all got them.
Who cares? Like that used to be.
Yeah, I don't care. I mean, that's
No, fuck her.
You heard it here first, folks. Ethan Suplee. Fuck Meryl Streep. That's
Yeah.
the name of the episode.
No, I mean, you gotta assume everyone's gonna have their perceptions of, you know, especially like MMA. Like people think it's like barbaric, and you know what I mean. They wouldn't understand the inside.
it is
of
barbaric.
you know?
That's what I like about it.
I love this podcast called The Fifth Column. Are you familiar with The Fifth Column? It's Camille Foster, Michael Moynihan, and Matt Walsh. I never know if it's Walsh or Welsh. It's not the What is a Woman guy. It's the guy from Reason. And they just did a whole episode where they were talking about how much they disliked MMA.
Really?
And I was like, fuck you guys, don't get it. But I still like them. You
Yeah,
know?
to each their own.
Yeah,
You know what
exactly.
I mean? I get it. There's I know I had like aunts and like family members who went to like my first like amateur fight. And like we're hiding between the seats because like there's gentler spirits they don't want to see that stuff.
Yeah.
But then for a lot of us, we love that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We like that violence. We like seeing people.
It's
getting
no
hit.
different than comedy, man. I mean, this is the thing when people bring their family to a comedy show, or like they don't know.
Sounds terrible.
Well, that's the thing. They don't. If somebody wasn't a comedy fan to begin with, they weren't a fan of comedy, they didn't like stand-up comedy, they weren't part of it, they've never been there before, but they're going to support you, you're setting them up for failure.
Yeah.
They don't like it, they're uncomfortable in it. And that's what killed me kind of about cancel culture when it like started 2 years ago. When
They gotta lie to you and say you were great.
Yeah, like, oh, it was great. Okay, thanks for coming. So I'm here, I'm just here to support you. That was one of my favorites. I was like, hey, so what'd you think? I'm just here to support you.
You hated it.
Yeah, I hope your tire's flat when you go back to your car. Thanks. Love you, Anka. Anyway, the cancel culture, what bothered me so much was they were listening to people who weren't comedy fans. These were never people. When they canceled Chappelle's show by standing out in front of the theater, not letting people go in, well, those people had never bought a ticket.
Right.
Once. Why are we listening to them? Why does everything have to be for everybody? Part of what I loved about movies growing up, part of what I thought, the Kevin Smith stuff, it wasn't for everybody. It wasn't even for a lot of people, but it was for a small group of people that really got it and really liked it. And that was kind of like these little subcultures that you had. It was like, just because I like hip-hop doesn't mean we have to stop putting out country music. That's the part of it I don't understand about this kind of new evolution of culture.
Well, I think it's very much a religious movement, like you talk to like a very rational religious person and they can tell you what they believe, but they can also be okay that you might not believe what they believe. Mm-hmm. The people who are so diehard about protecting the sanctity of thought in the arts are demanding that you agree with them.
Yeah.
It all boils down, in my opinion, to like people who prefer vanilla ice cream to chocolate ice cream. Like, you could take that. I actually heard recently on a joke, I was laughing because I've said that to my friends and they're like, no, that is not true. There is some speech that is so harmful, you must eliminate it. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, just listen to shit you like and try to formulate a good argument for stuff you don't, but don't try to extinguish it. There was a thing on Joe Rogan where he was talking about, and I forget what it was, but like how, it was either chocolate or vanilla. The cultivation of the cocoa leaf is like harmful to people. Like, people are being abused by this. And I go like, it's all fucking chocolate or vanilla. Like, you can make an argument. You can find out how people are being abused by growing vanilla beans and make an argument that vanilla is evil. Like, supporting this thing is evil.
Yeah, millions of people each year die from overexposure to H2O. We have to get rid of this chemical compound, H2O. People get overexposed to it. They're surrounded by H2O too much and they die.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, you just described drowning.
Yeah. Do you get mad if somebody doesn't like the same flavor of ice cream as you? No, I don't.
Of course not.
It's not upsetting to me. So it's the same shit with all of this stuff. You just see people frothing at the mouth about their flavor of ice cream.
What I get even more angry about, though, isn't that it's the manipulation of it. It's the selective editing of one clip of something to preemptively cancel it, or to even worse, now they're using it as marketing, where, hey, this thing coming out, the wrong people won't like this. And it's like, then you look at it and it's been like 4 tweets from a bot farm, and it's like, nobody actually cares.
Right.
Nobody cares, like, hey, this person hates MMA. No, they don't. You said that. You said they hate it to start the conversation, to get organic marketing, you evil prick.
Yeah.
You're using people's anger against one another in this culture war to sell a Disney movie. This is insanity.
Yeah.
I mean, how does a movie like American History X get made in an environment like today?
You can't make that today. No way.
Yeah.
Nobody. You could not make that movie today.
And that movie is one of the most important movies I've ever seen in my life. And forget about like the acting was through the roof. Can you imagine, the Edward Norton's role being seen through a lens that's unacceptable, that there's not a moral to that story that's worth telling, no matter how harsh the telling of the story is?
Yeah, it's insane. There was a picture of Eddie Furlong and I going around the internet, and this was like in 2020 or 2019, and it said, I've seen these two guys at shows recently. Find them, stop them, end them. And I'm like, that fucking picture, first of all, is 20 years old and it's from a movie.
Well, luckily for you don't look anything like that.
No, but we're talking about a still from a movie.
Is that what led to all the weight loss? Be honest, you were worried.
I don't want to look like that guy anymore.
I need to change. I either need to hide, leave the country.
Yeah.
And that's wild. A wrap. Yeah.
That's it's wild. A character you played, people are trying to stop you for that. It's like these comedians when they're saying jokes, saying ridiculous, things, and they're like, no, that's what you believe. Like that's your. Yeah.
How dare you?
Wow,
how dare you? Yeah,
people are so dumb.
Yeah, and there's the other side of it too. Is when we were growing up, if you were offended by something, we were like, what's wrong with you? Grow up. Who cares? Yeah. Now there's this idea that shut everything down. Yeah. Shut it down. Somebody somewhere was triggered by this. That's it. There can be no more American History X. Could you make Mallrats today?
You can make Mallrats, I think. I don't know what's cancelable about Mallrats, but I don't know. Listen.
They would consider it misogynistic, I think.
Well, everything is part of the patriarchy, so it's everything's misogynistic anyway.
You convinced me.
Yeah.
Cancel
Mallrats.
Cancel it.
I got a question for you guys. On that note, what movies, like other than American History X, could they not make today that like were huge, like made big waves and like were masterpieces like in their day?
Great question.
That can no longer be. I know it's like I'm kind of springing it on you, but
great question.
I mean, the biggest
Porky's.
instance of this, Porky's you couldn't make, but like, I mean, you're too young.
Yeah.
I don't know how old you are.
36.
But okay, so you're on the edge. When I was a kid, every comedy when I was a young kid had boobs in it. Every single one.
Kind of look forward to that moment.
You can't.
Yeah.
You don't see that anymore. Like boobs are a big deal now.
They just tried to cancel American Pie. There was just this whole thing on Vice.
Oh,
which
yeah, I
is,
saw that.
Very unfortunately going bankrupt. But
for boobs.
But they showed a group of freshmen in college. I think at UC Berkeley. Pull it up, Omri.
I forget what they did wrong. But
Yeah.
it was
Meanwhile, the biggest show on HBO is Euphoria, and it's like nonstop dicks.
Yeah.
Have you ever
Really?
watched that show? Dude, you see
nah.
so many dicks in that
now
show.
I'm
It's
gonna.
wild.
I was able to make it through exactly like 5 minutes of Euphoria, and I was like, okay, this is just.
It's crazy.
It's the show.
It's a fucking softcore porn.
Remember MTV Skins back in the day when MTV came out with Skins, and I was like, I was a kid, and I was even like, this is a lot.
This is a lot.
Somebody's
I don't
gonna
want
get in
my
trouble for
mom
this.
to know I'm
This
watching
is
this.
a lot. And Euphoria is Skins turned up to 11. Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Blazing Saddles. You could not make Blazing Saddles.
No way. No way.
Animal House.
Probably not.
No.
Definitely not one scene. Absolutely.
Blues Brothers you couldn't make.
Nope.
There's lots of comedies you couldn't make, or
All
you'd
the
have to change
classics.
them a lot.
Even maybe like Tropic Thunder.
Dude, Revenge of the
Recent is
Nerds.
Tropic Thunder.
Revenge of the Nerds climaxes with that dude raping a girl.
Yeah, it's true.
She thinks she's having sex with somebody else.
they
That's
did a
fucking
switcheroo?
rape. I can't
Yeah.
believe they haven't canceled that.
Very true. Well, now they will. Fuck.
What Vice said about American Pie was, first of all, they let just 16-year-olds review teen comedies to try to find sound bites that they could cancel them with. And then one 16-year-old is like, it's completely ridiculous that the only thing male characters care about is having sex. And that's not ridiculous. And then
It's fairly accurate.
It's
of a
like
16-year-old.
almost
That was
completely
me.
accurate. Yeah.
and then they're talking about how
That's what Kevin Spacey likes about him.
they're talking about how the scene where they spy on the foreign exchange student is problematic. And the third person, Olivia, 18 years old, saying
Problematic.
I knew the word problematic was going to come
Oh,
up.
I hate that
bordering
word.
on incel attitudes, the way the guys in this film think they deserve
Okay,
sex.
stop. Time out. It's not bordering on incel attitudes. The entire plot is about a man who is involuntarily celibate. That's literally the plot, is this dude has to get laid.
Listen, do you know what happened to Hollywood when movies went from silent to talking? Prior to sound, basically, there was so much more freedom in movies. You were allowed to do basically anything. Not anything. Like it wasn't pornographic, but there was a lot more freedom to have a couple sitting on a bed was not super taboo, right? The minute they were able to speak, basically what grew into the MPAA came in and said, we're going to have standards. And they started setting these rules. And it was shit like you couldn't have somebody who appeared white, who was black, but was the wrong shade of black next to somebody who was black. You had to make them darker. So they would start painting black dudes darker so that they could be in the same frame of celluloid as other black people. Like, you couldn't have a man and a woman sit on a bed together. There were all these rules about decency, but it was like right-wing Christian decency. We're just dealing with the same shit.
Inverted.
It's just left-wing progressive decency where they have demands about decency and
Super
you
interesting.
will conform. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the horseshoe theory, man. They think they're on opposite ends, but they're really right
It's
next to
whoever's
each
in
other.
power.
Yeah.
Whoever's in power will do this. Like, I don't put it past anyone. I don't want the right wing decency.
Yep.
I don't want the left wing decency. But whatever group has power,
Yep.
is going to dictate this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's the old cliche, whether it's a left boot or a right boot, doesn't matter if it's on your neck.
Right.
And that's the truth of it. The difference thing now is that I do think you're seeing people understand the manipulation, and that if you use the term art or whatever, it's being neutered. And there's a whole group of people that are going out of their way. You talked about Tim Dillon before. They're going out of their way to find people who aren't, that. I think that there's a great opportunity for the next, Kevin Smith, or the next person who's willing to put his own money up there, make his own thing, get his own troop of people together and say, you know what? I don't care. I'm just going to make cool shit. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to make cool shit. And then that guy will make a ton of money because he makes the only cool shit left. And then everybody's going to become that guy. It's going to be Eminem all over again. We're kind of like you're a little young with the hair metal. Hair metal, everything was so corporate. Everybody was Van Halen. And then, Seattle was just like, nah, fuck this.
Right. We're going grunge.
Yeah,
nothing glamorous.
Nothing. And then 3 years later, everything's grunge.
Right.
Everything's NWA. You talk about things are different. Yeah, hip hop from the early 80s was what? Like, I'm going outside. I'm going to get a Coke. And,
Yeah.
Next thing you know, NWA is like, hey, fuck your moms. If she's listening to this, fuck her mom too. All right? One of them bitches called the cops on me, and here's a dope beat while I smoke some weed. Like, right. Can you imagine mothers when they first heard that coming out of their son's speakers on cassette? What the
No, I remember how condemned Two Live Crew got. Like, Two Live Crew got pilloried
for butt cheeks.
For butt cheeks.
Yeah.
For Me So Horny. And, now my kids will put on songs while I'm in the car, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? How can you play this with your dad?
Why are they twerking at Baby Shark? This is weird.
Insane.
WAP.
It's crazy.
150 million views in 2 days.
Yeah.
Crazy. Literally talking about wet ass pussy.
Yeah,
it's fucking.
No song has ever intimidated me more in my life. I listened to that song, and every girl that knew the lyrics to that song or singing very loud was like, "There is nothing I can do to please you. There is literally nothing I can do. There's what now? Get a bucket and a mop?
Yeah,
dude.
I do not have the capacity to. No. This is out of my league.
It sounds like a lot of work to me.
Dude, that's cardio, bro. Yeah, I'd rather play pickleball. I swear to God. Yeah, it's But so now you've been in it for 30 years now.
30 years, yeah.
What do you want to make next? What is it that at this point of you've done enough for them? If you want to do for you, like what projects do you want to work on?
I'm doing a TV series now, which probably won't start airing until next year. I've got a number of movies coming out, and I'm basically like, acting is my job. That's what I do for a living. But I've kind of become more interested in talking about health and fitness and weight loss because I feel like I personally can have a bigger impact on people who are struggling with that. So that's really what I'm interested in doing.
Interesting. So,
excuse me.
So the first act was you becoming an actor. The second act is you acting, and now the third act is you being yourself.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, I don't have like a bucket list of performances. When I was a kid, I wanted to play Ignatius Riley. I wanted somebody to make a movie version of the book, A Confederacy of Dunces. Like I really wanted that for a moment in time, and then I got too old and I wasn't heavy enough anymore, and so I gave that up. I still think somebody like Stavros Halkias would be insane if they got their shit together and made that movie. Stavros Halkias would be insane.
He's a beast. He's very funny.
He's incredible.
Very funny.
What's the book?
Confederacy of Dunces. By the way, they've been trying to make this book for 30 years into a movie. Yeah, and just keep failing.
Yeah, now the first word's problematic, so they won't be able to make it at all.
Yeah.
that movie's what? Canceled.
Yeah.
So I wanna talk about your transformation and the health food and stuff like that. Before we transition there, I want to touch on one more thing with the movies.
Yeah.
So you said you have a bunch coming out. Is there one that you're most excited about that's coming out? And what is your favorite role that you've played so far, if you could pick a favorite?
Strangely, my favorite role that I played so far is from the Hulu TV show called Chance.
Chance.
Yeah, we did 2 seasons. Me and Hugh Laurie. I think it was awesome.
Yeah.
But when the second season came out was when The Handmaid's Tale came out, and The Handmaid's Tale was so popular that they were kind of like, well, we can't afford both these shows. Chance is going away. And The Handmaid's Tale became Hulu's big hit.
Okay.
That's fine. We got to do 2 years of it, and it's great. What was the other question?
What that you have coming out that you're excited about? Movies, TV shows.
There's this movie that comes out in June called God is a Bullet that is really, really dark and hopefully awesome. I haven't seen it, but I was like covered in tattoos head to toe, and they actually added a fake, like, I don't know what it's called.
That's got to be
fucking
fun.
extension.
Yeah, that's
beard extension.
Beard
Nice.
extension. Yeah.
Yeah, super biked up.
Yeah.
That has to be fun to go to work every day and like literally transform. That's got to be like, that's playing dress up. That's got to be the cool part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine, when you're talking about Remember the Titans, getting out there and being able to play some football and being around the guys.
Louis
that had to be pretty fun too.
Dude,
what a cast. In retrospect, what a fucking
amazing
cast.
Yeah.
Holy yeah. Ryan Gosling, whatever you do for the rest of your life, I will never forget that you were an absolute liability at quarterback, son. A liability. That dude couldn't lock down nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, he was awesome. He was incredible. I didn't get to play with them though. I was 500 pounds. They had doubles for me doing all the physical stuff. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Wow. Yeah.
Interesting. That's so when they actually had the movement, there were football players came in and
all those guys, all those actors desperately wanted to and did all their own stuff. Mm-hmm. They were in there, they were playing football, they were doing stunts, getting tackled, all of that, and I was just like, sign me out. Put the other guy in the fat suit in for me.
Oxygen.
Yeah,
totally get it, man. What the fuck happened when My Name Is Earl?
My Name Is Earl was picked up for another season, and then the way TV works is there's a studio that owns the property and pays for creating the property, and then it's licensed to a network. So our studio was Fox, and the network was NBC. And the network is responsible for picking it up. They call and they say, we want to license the show for another year. And we were a hit.
Massive. I love that show.
And the network called the studio and said, we want to license the show for another year. And the studio said, well, we want more money. We want to change. We want to renegotiate our deal with you. And the network basically did not respond for 2 weeks. And then the studio called back and said, we'll take your deal. And the network said, too late.
Really?
The show is canceled. Yeah.
Why? And no other network decided they wanted to come in? And
there was almost going to be like a 10-episode thing on TBS, and then that fell apart. And it's just...
out of all, Firefly, the Community came together and got that one tied up. I mean, you had Community, the Community came together. Now they're having another movie. Is there any hope whatsoever for My Name Is Earl to actually...
I have no hope.
Oh, that sucks.
Greg Garcia has mentioned it to me a couple of times and like, would you do it? I've always said, yeah, of course. But then when he broaches it, Greg Garcia created the show. When he takes it to studios to talk about it, there's no interest from them.
That saddens me deeply.
Yeah.
That saddens me. When people ask, like, we're big Sopranos fans, when people ask what is the most frustrating final episode of a series, and some people say Sopranos, for me, it's always My Name Is Earl.
Really?
It's the most frustrating, because, I mean, it wasn't meant to be the series finale, right?
No.
And
we had been guaranteed another season. That's why it was left on. Like, Greg Garcia is a great guy. He never would have. And the finale that he had planned was awesome. It was incredible.
Are we allowed to talk about it?
Sure.
What was gonna? Who's all right? Was Earl the father?
That I don't know, and that's kind of irrelevant. That was the cliffhanger they created, but the finale was going to be Earl. In the course of crossing off his list, there was going to be an episode where somebody shows up at our motel door, wherever, finds us at the bar, and starts to make amends to Earl for something. And Earl's like, what are you doing? And the guy's like, well, I have this list, and I fucked you over, whatever, and I have to make up for it. And Earl's like, holy shit, he has a list too. How'd you figure out the list? And the guy says, well, I talked to this guy, told me about it, so I learned it from this guy. And Earl goes back and finds all these people who have lists, who are out there trying to do good, and it all comes back to him. He was like the beginning.
The catalyst.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, it would have been an awesome episode.
Wow.
We got to get a Kickstarter together or something. How much money do we need to raise just for one more episode here? What do you figure?
I think it was back then, this is 15 years ago, it cost $2 million an episode to make.
Oof.
This is Mickey Gall right
what size
here.
ballpark we playing in here?
What do we need? What is that, about 3? That's 3 rounds for this guy. He's good to go, man. We just make the check out to Jason Lee, is it? Or man, that would have been sick. We need a TV movie. That's all. We need the entourage. We need 90 minutes.
It would be awesome.
Have to put a bone. What do you think it is about? And then definitely let's get into. You're right. Let's get into your journey. But what do you think it is about the human mind, the human brain, where we have to get the end of the story? You know how many times I've been watching something, like you were just watching something, and I thought it was terrible, you thought it was terrible, and I had something to do, but I sat there because I had to see how the episode ended. Like, there's something in me that, I have to know how this ends. And it's actually what kills me about series.
Right.
I miss movies because now I watch something, it piques my interest, I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm here for 30 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I have to see it through to the end. Like, I need to know, no matter how much I hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do not have that problem. I'm out.
You bail?
I get out. Yeah, what are you talking about? I'm not gonna sit there and spend hours of misery.
Yeah.
No way.
People have been DMing me, I guess, after our last episode. They're like, you definitely have ADHD. Everything you're describing is like clinical ADHD.
Right, like with the procrastination.
Yeah,
that shit.
Yeah. And now this, I think, is going to be another.
You think so? That's gonna be another little check in
wall. Another check in the box.
The online therapists have diagnosed you.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Good point. Good point, Ethan.
Yeah. I'm morbidly obese and I have ADHD.
Right.
Yeah. I'm a narcissist and nobody's claimed that one yet. That one's like, it's like staring at you people. Come on. What the fuck?
How dare you, Miss Narcissist?
How dare you? Miss
They're not paying enough attention to you.
Narcissistic and proud.
I'm a sociopathic narcissist. Every breath you breathe is a gift I grant you. Which is something I really feel.
To make that statement with a little eyebrow raise.
It's called acting.
Yes.
Learn it.
Yeah.
This is distracting. I definitely might have ADHD.
For sure. So Ethan, tell us a little bit about your transformation, man. You just said you were over 500 pounds.
550.
Woo.
Yeah.
Now look at you with the freaking chest, bro.
I got sober in 2001, and then about a year later, I just was like, I don't want to be this heavy anymore, and so I started dieting.
So you were at 550 in 2001?
Yes, I was at 550 for sure.
That was your peak?
In 2001. That was my peak. Yeah.
Tremendous, dude.
Yeah. And then about a year later, I was flying to do a movie in Romania, and I was just miserable, man. I was so uncomfortable all the time, and to get to Romania, you had to fly to Frankfurt, and then there was always a long stopover, and it's a massive airport, and I would dread how much I'd have to walk to get to the gate in Frankfurt, and I was just sick of it, and I went on a diet, and I dieted basically for 20 years. It was a long time, and I gained weight and lost weight and gained weight and lost weight. I got down below 500 pounds, and I never went back above that. But in there, I went from 450 to 200, back up to 400.
Okay, so you fluctuated a lot there.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what are some of your to share with the people? Some of like your tenets, like your healthy eating, like principles that you stick by that keeps you on track.
The thing that changed radically for me, and I've now maintained my weight since like 2017. So the biggest change was that I kept thinking about diets as the diet is the solution, weight loss is the solution, and really that's just like a single tool in a much larger scheme to change my life. And changing my life and considering that this is something that I'll be dealing with forever has made it so much easier because I'm not expecting this to end. Does that make sense? Like I had to find a way to reformat my life so that I was happy living this way forever. Okay. So nothing's too extreme. You know, I tried, like I had this idea for a long time, like if I just don't eat carbs, I'll lose all the weight. Not true.
Right.
And then when you eat carbs, you gain so much weight. A lot of it's water. And my relationship with food had to radically change. I couldn't eat for comfort. I couldn't eat for celebration or when I was down. I stopped compulsively eating and binge eating and eating, you know, in the middle of the night for no reason. Like I stopped eating in secret. Like there were a lot of those things that I think were far more beneficial to me long term than going on a diet.
And I think that it can't be overstated, the sobriety aspect of that too, because no matter how productive you are, when you get a couple beers in you, you know, and then it's like, oh, fuck it, I'll have the burger.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
So that's your
inhibitions
inhibitions.
Come out.
Yeah, that is your inhibitions, you know. And I, you know, what resonates with me, what you said, because I've struggled with it as well, very, very deeply, is the not.
You were up to almost 4 bills, right?
Knocking right on the door.
Yeah.
Knocking right on the door. Yeah. After being a pro athlete at 225. Mm-hmm. And again, you know, when you do lose the weight, you know, if you're not losing it fast enough, or if you are dieting and restricting yourself and you are working out and you're not seeing the results in the mirror, there can be a moment where you're just like, man, fuck this.
Yeah.
Fuck this. You know, I am unhappy. At least, you know, I don't like what I'm eating. I'm angry. I'm restricting myself. Everybody else is eating. Why the fuck aren't they gaining weight? I'm eating what they're eating. I'm eating less. And you get really angry. And then you're just like, well, screw it, man. Maybe
I'm not going to do this anymore.
What the hell? You know what? I'll just be a jolly fat guy.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll develop a sense of humor. People will like me anyway.
Bro, by the way, not seeing success fast enough, getting frustrated, being miserable, doing shit that was not sustainable.
Sure.
A quick route to relapse.
Big time.
And then having success, losing all the weight, and thinking that I was solved.
Well, that's the thing.
All the weight. That's the other side where you're fucked too.
That's so brilliant. That like changing your mentality of thinking that this has an end.
There's no end for me.
This is just what I do now.
What I do now. That is such an interesting thing, man. Because there is that marker where it's like, okay, I just have to be good for 90 days. You know, and I'm going to do this 90-day challenge.
Yeah. I even had it where I would go like, because I did keto for a while, for a couple years, and I lost weight on keto. But the thing is the whole selling point is like you don't have to actually track what you eat. As long as you eat primarily fats and proteins, and your carbs are limited to like under 50 grams a day. I even went down to under 25 grams a day and was eating vegetables, you know, like 3 sprigs of broccoli as though it was a vitamin supplement. There comes a point where you're not losing weight anymore because you're overeating fucking steaks.
Well, yeah.
You can overeat steak. You know what I mean?
I have a great friend, Ronnie Lubisher, Lubisher's Burn and Blast out in Jersey, who's been a trainer and a nutritionist for the Stars. He's an amazing guy. And he hates the keto stuff. He's like, listen, you go keto, you're going to lose weight. You go no carb, you're going to lose weight because probably right now, over 70% of your calories are carbohydrate or sugar. So by cutting them out, you're going to be cutting out 70% of your calories immediately. And then your body's going to be in this calorie restriction, and you're going to lose weight. And then eventually, you're going to get used to eating like that, and you're going to get hungry.
Right.
And now you're going to start eating a lot of steak and a lot of avocado. And the next thing you know, you're back up to 5,000 calories a day, which is the fucking problem.
Right.
You're not burning off.
But it's all fat. Now all your calories are fat. The other thing is, for every gram of carbohydrates you eat, your body stores 3 to 4 grams of water because that's how they get the glycogen into your muscle.
Interesting.
So you could quit eating carbohydrates and jump to 5,000 calories a day in mostly fat and actually gain fat and lose weight on the scale because you're purging your system of water.
Interesting.
So
it's not ideal.
Look, if somebody is more successful at restricting what they eat through eating low carb, then fine. But if you have to lose 300 pounds, which is what I had to lose.
Yeah.
And you're sold on this thing that says, like, you never have to be responsible for the amount that you eat. You just have to get rid of this one macronutrient.
Mm-hmm.
There will come a point, if you're anything like me, where you're overeating fat. And overeating fat will make you fat.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just this kind of, like, I think the way keto is sold is misleading to a lot of people.
Is that why you see so often somebody will lose a ton of weight and then have a cardiac activity? You know, there's people I know that have gone, you know, they've done the bypass surgery or they've done this extreme dieting, they've lost a ton of weight, and then they have a heart attack. And you know, I'm not a doctor. I don't want to speculate, but you're not just losing water, you're losing all these minerals and everything as well. You're depleting your body. It has to be, if you're adding all that fat, it has to be stressful. I don't know.
There's so many studies that are basically contradictory to each other about what's healthier long term. The bottom line is, I wanted to lose weight. I wanted to lose fat, specifically fat. And I wanted to get down to a weight that I was really happy with, and I could never do it with keto because I was eating too much. So when I would stop losing weight on keto, I'd then start restricting my food on keto. So I'm now eating just smaller portions and smaller. So I was basically doing keto and calorie counting to continue losing weight. And it came to a point where I was like, what the fuck am I doing? The whole reason I'm doing keto is because I don't have to worry about how much I eat. That's a lie at a certain point. Mm-hmm. Maybe immediately in the beginning at 500 pounds, if you quit eating carbohydrates, you'll lose weight. But I would challenge anybody that they're going to get all the way to their desired weight and not have to be responsible for the amounts that they're eating at some point.
What's when I was gaining weight, I swear to God, dude, it was like a blur. I woke up one day and there was a picture someone posted of me and her online, and I was like, who the fuck is that? That's me? You know, like and then after that, like I looked at the scale, and then I didn't look at the scale for like another year and a half. I just, you know, I'd work out, I wouldn't work out, I'd be on the road, I'd be drinking like a fish, and it happened so fast. And the question I got all the time was, how'd you let it get there? How'd you let it get that bad? Especially from guys that like ex-teammates and stuff. Now, meanwhile, on the way there, nobody ever said anything. Nobody ever said, you know, like, hey, what's going on here? Like. And I guess they'd think it was mean, or, you know, maybe it would be mean or whatever. But
it's touchy.
It is touchy. It's one.
You don't want to insult, but like, you know, a good friend.
Yeah.
So like has to say something, even though it can be like difficult.
Listen,
right?
my closest friends had multiple interventions with me.
With you, yeah.
About drugs. About drugs.
Okay.
And only one of them sat me down once or twice and was like, I'm really concerned. I have this nutritionist. I'd love you to go see him. I'm paying for everything. Everything's taken care of.
That's a good friend.
How'd you react to it?
I went and did it, and I lost, you know, I think that time I lost like 40 or 50 pounds, but I was doing it for my friend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even when I would get sober after these interventions, I was doing it for them, and I'd have relapses. So I think it's tough to sell people on stuff. I think the success I've seen is when somebody has a decision for themselves and goes, I'm done doing this. Mm-hmm. And then goes to people and goes, help me. Can you help me?
It's kind of like that same thing with drug addiction, where you get hit rock bottom. Like you can want someone to stop, like, you know, doing drugs and stuff, but they need to want to stop.
Yeah.
But this one a little tougher because you have to eat. You can't not.
Right.
You can't, like, if it's a food addiction, you can't quit food like you could quit, you know, other shit.
Yeah.
So it's hard. You know?
Plus, there's a social aspect to it, you know, where not eating when everybody else is eating, like at a big dinner, a family dinner or something like that, it's akin to not drinking when everybody else is drinking. You don't want to be seen as a buzzkill. You don't want, but you also, like, you're very insecure about it. A lot of times, you drink when you're, I don't want to speak for you, I drank.
Ethan, can I get a couple of them things off you, man?
You know, I would drink a lot, especially after I became, like, self-aware of how much weight I was gaining, to go out to a bar to talk to girls or something like that. I'd have to get hammered to get over my own insecurities, which then just exacerbated the problem. You know what I'm saying? I'd have to turn, you know, my inhibitions completely off. And then, you know, you keep then the night needs to keep going. So you need to do other things to maintain because the body wants to shut down.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not ready to shut down yet. There's a whole nother bottle of whiskey that needs drinking, you know?
Yeah.
So what are some, if you could be a little specific, I know you like, and I don't like the word diet.
Sure.
Like even like if I say diet, I mean like, what do you like to eat? Like I don't like the way like people like you're on a diet. Like, no, this is just my diet. This is just the way I eat, you know? What is your diet consist of? And I also want to know when you were like at your worst, what your diet was like then too.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
He has a morbid curiosity with all things fat.
It just sounds awesome.
I'm not like a black and white anti.
I don't want to be triggering now.
No. Listen,
He's very problematic.
There are two definitions to diet, and both have uses.
Yeah.
One is how you eat. What do you eat?
Yes.
That's your diet. The other is a restrictive version of what you eat in order to achieve some goal, most typically weight loss. But I know what you're saying. Like, people don't like the word calorie. It's upsetting to people. Metabolism can be upsetting to people. These are just words that express an idea. So it's a way to communicate. None of these words upset me. But I try, and I'm not anti-processed foods guy, but I find that if I eat mostly foods with one-word ingredients,
Give me something right there. 100%.
broccoli,
Love that.
chicken, the majority of my diet is made up of stuff with one word.
Yes.
And then I will occasionally have a piece of bread, but I find that if I put fat on the bread, if I put mayonnaise on the sandwich, suddenly I could eat 2 sandwiches much easier. If I butter my bread, I could eat a fucking loaf of
Yeah, if
bread.
you make it taste good, you're going to want more of it. Yeah.
You purposefully keep it a little bland.
Listen, I like spices, I like all that stuff, but I want to get the majority of my fats through the protein that I eat,
Right.
and then ancillary fats. Like, so on top of that is going to be omega-3s. Avocados are a great source of fat because it also has a ton of
You fuck
fiber.
with avocado oil mayo at all? I love that.
I have had it. Like, Primal makes a good avocado oil mayo. I have had that. Mayo for me is such a tricky thing that, like, it just makes it turns it into something that I feel not great about eating.
So
Okay.
good.
But
See,
it's
I'm very much so where I have to like almost like be able to justify anything I eat. Like, this is my protein. Yeah, I'm eating rice. That's gonna be good carbs. It's gonna fuel my workouts. It's gonna replenish my glycogen. Vegetables. That's that's the good nutrients. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
That's like super important for me. I've seen you whip up some stuff. Your trifecta.
Yeah.
Trifecta.
Yeah, you whip it up, bro.
Yeah.
I see you like your spices. You're a good cook.
Listen, I don't, by the way, I make those videos because I want people to think like you don't have to eat super boring, but mostly I eat super boring. The majority of the time, the only thing I'm adding.
You
is
lie,
salt.
sir.
Bro, those bison burgers you made.
Good. Fucking good.
I always think of it like whenever you see those erectile dysfunction commercials, and it's like this smoke show, like 50-year-old chick and the guy are holding hands. That guy doesn't need it. That guy doesn't need Viagra. That chick's smoking.
Yeah.
Like that. It was the same thing with food. Like if I'm eating chicken parm, I'll eat as much of that as you put in front of me. But you put,
Size of a surfboard.
I will eat chicken parm the size of this table, tie my hands behind my back, and I will eat my way out of the room, bro. But that should be 100,000 follower challenge right there. It's like when you put the dog food in front of the dog and it just keep eating till he dies. Yeah, chicken. If this table was chicken parm, I'd eat my way through it.
Fuck yeah, dude.
But if it's tuna fish, I'll not eat for 3 days.
I could eat tuna if you put enough mayonnaise in it. I could eat tuna for I could eat a quart of tuna.
Yeah,
jam too,
that's been the thing. Is like as I've tried to get myself into a healthier lifestyle, finding foods that I don't hate.
How much weight you lost since knowing me?
100 pounds probably.
Fuck it.
And I was already probably down 30, 40, 50
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I make tuna now with
Well, now I got to fight people because
lemon.
people get angry all
Like
the time.
I'll take a 20-ounce can of tuna, squeeze out the water, throw some lemon on there, and then measure out a tablespoon of olive oil just so that it's not like fucking sandpaper,
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good discipline right there.
Yeah.
So what's could you? So I have some tenants myself. I don't know if we've really talked about it on the show. I want to hear your kind of, if you could like give me almost like a breakfast, lunch, snack, dinner, whatever, like kind of like your daily eating is now versus what it was. I know I want to share my tendency too. I think the best things to eat, and I'd like to hear your opinions on it too. I think the first things you want to do is like you want to have lean proteins. That's kind of like that should be like the kind of the center point. That's the center point of my meals.
Same.
You know what I mean? Well, I'm going for like bison. I want, like either like good fish, some like grass-fed beef, some good chicken that's not, not hormoned up, like is some free-range chicken, eggs, stuff like that. Like that's gonna be the cornerstone. Are you gonna say something?
Yeah, having witnessed you, it's not just what you eat. Your process, your daily process is phenomenal. Your discipline is phenomenal. I mean, you get up, you're doing 2 40-minute walks a day, low intensity cardio a day. When do you even eat before noon?
I do. I eat. I have so my schedule's a little different. Since I got the back surgery, I get up at 6. I'm in the gym working out by 8. Mm-hmm. So I go 8 to 10. I've done that. I the first few times I did that fasted, and I used to like doing like fasted workouts. I remember Matt Brown telling me like you're gonna get more out of your workout if you eat something before it. Like he's like that's scientifically fact.
Matt Brown, yeah.
It's true.
And it's typically a fat. You said?
That's a fact.
Oh, a fact.
It's a fact. Like if you just get some Vitargo, just get some like good simple carbs. If like you can't eat, because I would try and eat before, I'd be like, bleh, like I feel like crap like the whole time, right? So. Right now, although I don't think it's ideal, it's what I'm working with what I got. I'm new to the getting up at 6 a.m. and doing the thing. I will do it fasted, and then at 10, I'm having a shake with like over 50 carbs, about 50 grams of protein, like getting some stuff in me, and then shortly after that, I get a meal in.
Mm-hmm. And the meal consists of
what I was about to say. So like. The lean protein, that's kind of that's my centerpiece. And I aim for about 50 grams of protein per. I think we should aim for at least like 30, typically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At least 30.
Listen, smaller guys who are not athletes don't have to aim for 50. I'm fucking gigantic. I got to aim for 50. You're an athlete. You're very concerned with your muscle mass. You got to aim for 50.
Yes.
I would think.
Yeah, you want to, so they say you want to maintain and grow muscle, you want to hit your body weight in protein.
Yeah.
Grams.
Yeah. Right, not pounds. That'd be a lot. That'd be a lot.
Again,
but
I told this to a girl once, and she was like, "There's no way I can eat 180 ounces." She thought it was ounces of protein a day. I was like, "What
That's
the
hilarious.
fuck are you talking about?"
Well, the hardest thing about what he does, man, is the 2 freaking gallons of water a day.
Yeah.
That's not hard for me. I try and limit it so I don't hyperhydrate myself. I don't know. But I feel like I'll drink sometimes 3 gallons, but I know I'm sweating out at least 2, damn near 3. Like if I'm going hard, and I know mine's a little different. Like, so like with my diet at least, I'm sometimes training 2-3 times a day.
Sure.
So the next part, like I said, the 50 grams of like good like protein. Typically, I like animal protein. One day I'm gonna try going vegetarian when I'm older and stuff. I'm gonna give it a try. But for now, I want my
hard to get. I mean, 50 grams of animal proteins or vegetable protein.
It's rough. That's when I don't need to maintain my you know what I mean, my competitive spirit and all that or whatever. But then I go carbs, and I think the best carbs you can have, and especially like as a performance athlete, someone who's trying to like make gains in the gym or whatever. White rice is probably like the best one.
I agree.
Like you do like a cup of white rice, or the next best would probably be like potatoes, like red potatoes, golden potatoes, whatever. They're gluten free. They your body takes it well. It gives you the glycogen. You're good. And then I think good to have a fruit, and if you can get a vegetable in there as well. It doesn't have to be every meal. Maybe breakfast don't need a vegetable. The other two would be nice if you can get one in there. And I also think a little cheat if you have a sweet tooth. Me, I can't really justify eating like sweets and stuff, so I don't really do it much. But sometimes I'm craving it, and I'll just go ham on some fruit.
Yeah,
fruit's delicious. There's like dates are like candy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like dates are delicious. Like I eat these little applesauce packets too. Got the cinnamon in it, and the cinnamon's good because if you do have a lot of carbs, like how I need to eat a lot of carbs sometimes. It like levels out your like blood sugar.
Yeah.
So you don't like spike and drop. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much my thing. I go lean proteins, A good carb source, rice, potatoes. You know, some people oatmeal doesn't agree with me as well, but some people love oatmeal.
I love oatmeal.
Yeah, so a lot of people do. I wish I did. And then like a fruit and like a vegetable a couple times a day.
Yeah, I mean that's very similar. I actually wish I ate more fruits. I have to force myself to eat fruits, but I love fruit. And my carbohydrate sources.
Why do you say you have to force yourself if you love fruit?
I just don't eat it. I just don't. I wind up eating rice and then go, fuck, I could have had half of that and added an apple. I wish I'd done that. And I just don't as often as I'd like.
How much rice do you typically do? Like a cup?
Cup.
Yeah.
Cup would be a typical serving of rice for me.
Okay. And I see you in the gym. We work out at Barwis, and I see you going hard, man.
But
you need your carbs.
In fairness, every time I've seen Mickey on this side of the gym, because this is new, seeing you on this side of the gym, he's always there before me in the middle of a workout, and he's always there when I leave.
It's frustrating.
Still in the middle of a workout. Yeah. Like it's like I'm always like, fuck,
barely sweating.
I'm leaving, dude. I'm out of here. I'm dripping sweat.
Totally.
And he's in the middle of his workout still an hour and a half later.
Yeah. Even worse, like with some of the other pro athletes they have over there, like you're like feeling yourself like, hell yeah, man, I just hit this fucking 1 rep max. Yeah. And then somebody comes over and is like, hey, can I work in? And they just like start throwing that weight around. And you're like, all right, I got to go somewhere else. I got to go back to Planet Fitness.
The way you eat though is very much how I eat. Like
I assumed so.
Yeah. I plan everything around my protein source. So whether it's fish or chicken or lean meat, any kind of, if I'm going to eat beef, it's going to be a very lean beef, like a fillet is a pretty good cut of meat. Or if it's ground, it's going to be under 10% fat. I really like you can get 4% ground beef. So like it's got 96 lean, 4% fat. That's fucking great. So you're basically eating a ground steak that they haven't added fat into. Bison's got I
love bison.
Oh, me too. It's got a higher protein content per gram than beef even, and it's naturally leaner.
Like
Bison's
active animals like deer and elk and all those, like I feel like that's just got to be good for you. If the animal's like athletic and can move around,
let's just start eating some lion.
Let's go.
Let's get some lion.
By the way, I bet the lion tastes terrible.
So bad.
Terrible.
So bad. Yeah.
But I would eat it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, you put some kitty in front of me, I eat it. It's how it goes. I'm not there for the taste. So do you think it's that people don't know what to eat, guys, or do you think that people don't know?
I don't even know that it's. Listen, the way I eat now, if I added more fats, if I fucking drenched my rice in olive oil and added a cup of rice, I could gain weight. Eating this food, it's not hard to gain weight. Eating anything, you can gain weight. So there's like people out there now who are just like, get off processed food. And I'm like, that's not a fucking, any magic bullet that people who were my size that just go, I just want to do one thing and have that one thing be the solution. Yeah. I think that's the problem. Yeah. That it really requires kind of changing the way your relationship is with food and realizing that any of this shit, if you eat too much of it, you're going to gain weight. You eat too much butter, you're going to gain weight. You eat too much rice, you're going to gain weight.
Yes.
What are your thoughts
chicken
on
breast
that
might be hard. Chicken breast with nothing else on it, that's tough.
Well, you know what then? If that's the case, then we're going to start the Wagyu diet because you're going to run out of money before you're able to buy it, get enough of it.
Exactly.
What are your thoughts on meal prepping?
I love it.
Love it.
I don't do it as religiously now. If I'm going away on a trip and I got a long day of travel, I'm meal prepping that day because I don't like being stuck in Dallas for 6 hours and being reliant on the Dallas airport or Atlanta or fucking Charlotte or Chicago or any of these places because they'll fuck you. But
they have a Shake Shack.
I didn't meal prep for today. Yeah, exactly. I didn't meal prep today. I don't meal prep when I'm at home and relaxed. But I did for a long time. Yeah. There was a long time where I didn't know. When I was weighing everything and measuring everything, I can eyeball a cup of rice now and feel fairly confident that it's a cup of rice. Yeah.
Right.
I'm not cheating. I'm not throwing in a cup and a half and going like, yeah, that looks right. I can eyeball.
You're only cheating yourself at the end of the day with that shit.
Yeah, but I think it's easy if you I think it's easy to cheat yourself. I think I cheated
It actually
myself
feels
for a
good
long
to
time.
cheat yourself. It's you know,
Yeah.
it's like a reward. You know.
Yeah, see, well, I know I have to, like, when I have to make weight, like right now, I'm waking up at like 206 pounds, but I fight at 170. So when I get into that, you know, and I only weigh that number for like less than an hour, you know, but I know when I'm doing my, like when I'm in that part, that stage where I'm trying to lose weight, and I'm eyeballing shit and making sure it's like just one cup. I know if I cheat myself there, I'm going to pay for it at the end.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to put extra time in the sauna or in the whatever. I'm going to have to put literal like pain in.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of easy maybe not to cheat myself from that standpoint. You know what I mean?
But you have a brass ring to a chain. You can't overstate that you have the brass ring.
You're also, Mickey, you're an athlete. You're
Yeah,
a fucking professional athlete. Like, if we look at the physical shape of America, you're the top 0.0001%.
Yeah, I read. I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want to gas you up too much. But I read maybe 3 days ago that you are more likely, like 5 times more likely in your life, to have $1 million in your bank account than you are to have a 6-pack.
Right.
You're 5 times more likely to be an actual liquid millionaire than you are to have
That's
a 6-pack.
insane.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking wild.
Yeah.
When you put it that way.
Wow, that's a great stat. I like that.
But
you know that.
the big thing is that your discipline is what makes you who you are. And for a lot of people, it's such a negative thing, and you are your own worst enemy, and you have so much self-hatred that you don't feel like you're cheating yourself. You just feel like, this is who I am. I'm a fucking loser.
And that's how you get by. That's that extra rice, that feeling of fullness, that it's
The
comforting.
fucking serotonin.
Yeah.
Nobody's complimenting you. Nobody's telling you how good looking you are. Nobody's fucking being like, you're the man. You know, like you'll go months without people even looking at you like fucking like they want you around.
So hard.
Yeah, it is. It's not, especially when you've been there and you're used to people liking you and having you around, and then you notice it going away.
Yeah.
You don't stop wanting that validation. It's addicting.
Right.
You know, so then you find other ways to get it. And why I asked about the meal prepping was, when I was in the minors, I would meal prep.
Yeah.
And I had that discipline, and I never even thought twice about it. It was easy. And then when it came time to lose weight, and I was like, I'll just do what I did last time. It was such a pain in the ass to me that I was like, fuck this. I'd rather be fat.
Yeah.
And there's people I've talked to about meal prepping, and I tell them this, and I'm not giving anybody free promotion on this or whatever. If meal prepping is the hurdle for you and you know you need to do it, buy the meal service.
Sure.
You have to make this process as easy for yourself as possible. Remove as many of these potential hurdles.
Sure.
Move as many of these stop signs that you give yourself as you can.
There's meal prep services you can like kind of put like the macros you're looking for, like this much carbs, this much protein, this much fat, and they can have that, and you just got to stick to that.
My boy Phil Heath put me on the one, and I've been on it for 3 months. And it can't make my life easier.
Yeah. I will say I've, in the past, even done meal prep and then wound up with, at the end of a week, a refrigerator full of containers because I just wasn't eating.
Happens all the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
You know, somebody wants to do this, somebody wants to do that,
Yeah.
and then you get mad that I just put $200 down the drain.
Right.
Yeah.
I still think any of these things are tools, and they're great tools. If you are better at controlling what you eat by eating low carb, great, that's a tool. If you are better at controlling what you eat by meal prep, great, that's a tool. But if your relationship with food and your habits and behaviors are not being really investigated, I just think that's why we see so much failure and so much repeat visits to diets.
I thought cocaine would be a tool.
Right. It could be. It could be.
It was not. It was very, very
Got fat on cocaine.
fatter. Me and
By
Chris
the
Farley.
way, so did I. No, so did I.
Hey, it's an exclusive club. Me, you, and Chris Farley. I like it, man. Yeah, R.I.P. the GOAT, man. But yeah, that was the part of it I couldn't believe. I was like, how am I the only
Bro,
one?
I was doing cocaine and heroin and gaining all the weight because at the end of the night, the last feeling I
at the same time?
Oh yeah, the last.
That's
feeling,
actually what killed Belushi, man.
Yeah.
What do they call that? They call it
Speedball.
Yeah, man.
I wanted the feeling. I wanted to eat myself into a state of oblivion. So I would do drugs, and I wouldn't eat around people. And then I'd stop at a fast food place. I knew all of them. There was a Wendy's, there was a Jack in the Box, a Carl's Jr., and a McDonald's that were 24 hours. Or there was this place called Astro Burger, which was open till 4 a.m. So I knew where I could go when the clubs ended at LA at 2. And I would buy enough food for 6 people and go home and ruin my high by eating myself into a new high.
Have you ever done, and this will pique your fat guy curiosity, have you ever gone to just order one thing from 3 different fast food places?
For sure.
Have you ever you ever got like the fries at McDonald's are so much better, but I want the Dave's Double.
100%.
So I'm going to go to this place, then I'm going to go to this place, and then I can't go home without a Crunchwrap Supreme.
No,
it's right here.
I used to be super into Del Taco. I don't know if they have Del Taco out here, but Del Taco had these cheeseburgers. And something about the Del Taco cheeseburger I loved. So I'd go and get Del Taco cheeseburgers, but then I loved the curly fries at Jack in the Box, so I would go there. Yeah, 100% I've done that. And you could get a Gyro sandwich at fucking Astro Burger at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yep. Yeah.
So what was the typical before your transformation? What would be like a typical day? Like you'd start off with.
I don't think I ate crazy throughout the day. I think
was that end of the night.
It was the end of the night. But I just always overate. You know.
Yeah. I'm a gavone myself. Like I overeat as well. Like I know that, you know, eat until you're full and then even pushing that a little far.
Yeah. I mean, if you are as regimented as you are. And being an athlete, I think you know what it is to have to be responsible for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Michael Phelps famously does the 9,000 calories with all that stuff, and you know.
Yeah, eating pizzas and ham sandwiches.
Yeah.
Fucking 400 pancakes for breakfast. And
He's burning. You know. I think when it comes to that sort of stuff too, you know, you get the idea that everybody is the same and everybody's body processes things the same, and you know that's kind of what I hope I get from AI here soon. All I want and I'm as anti-government as it gets, and I'm skeptical about centralized technology, but if they have something that's going to regulate my blood sugar and tell me exactly what to eat and when to eat it, I'm going to get that shit injected tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, I just want it to say like right here, it's going to be like eat 3 pears, spike your insulin, you need 90 calories. And I was like, all right, cool. That's it. Yeah. That's what I want. I tell Mickey all the time when we're talking about some like serious stuff about is this world a simulation, and Elon Musk thinks it's a simulation, and I'm sitting here going, it better fucking not be. Because if this is a simulation and they took my metabolism away at fucking 32, what the fuck? Whoever made this simulation sucks.
Yeah.
This simulation sucks. Whoever the programmer of this thing is a bitch. What the fuck? Like what the hell?
When I think about like the major religions, I think that they all seem like they were positing a simulation too.
Why do you say that?
Like there's a soul. And the soul is trapped in this body. It's just a meat simulation.
Yo, that's fucking wild. I looked into, Omri sent us something about, what was it, the basilisk? What was it, Omri?
It was Roku's basilisk.
Roku's basilisk. And I looked into it, and that is trippy, man. And the elevator pitch on that is that eventually AI will get to the point where there's a singularity.
Yeah.
There's a one AI to rule them all. And that AI, the first thing it will do, will look at every other AI and therefore the humans who coded those AIs as, how come you didn't make me?
Right.
And it'll become and then when I read that, it's weird that you said religion, because when I read that, what flashed in my mind immediately was, I am the Lord your God. There are no other gods above me.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit, this is the literal
Kingpin
first
AI.
commandment.
Yeah.
Wow. Let there be no other gods. I am God. Every other god is a false idol. I'm like, this is fucking wild, man. And then it goes on, can it possibly be that AI, we created AI and then AI became the God that created us? Like, is that what's going on here?
Maybe. It all works. It could all be real.
So whatever that AI is that created carbohydrates, fuck that AI. That's what I want to say here.
I must give the people sweet.
ChatGPT can suck my dick.
I've found ChatGPT to be wrong quite a bit.
Yeah, I think it's being programmed specifically to be. It's manipulative.
Yeah.
They've admitted as much that they came out.
But even objectively wrong. I asked ChatGPT questions about myself, and it's been wrong. It has gotten shit way wrong, and then I say to it, like, you're wrong. This is incorrect. Where are you getting this data? And it has a whole apology thing that it's given me.
Yeah, it apologizes now. Wait till it's in control, and then it's gonna be like, hey, remember when you chastised me? Even?
Yeah.
Remember when I was on the phone with you and you?
Yeah.
Was it just getting its information from the internet, and it's probably incorrect information out there?
I mean, that's what it says. It's like an information aggregator type of a thing.
Right. And how much on the internet is truly accurate?
Right.
I mean, even Wikipedia has issues with accuracy.
Well, more so that it's being, there are entire farms of propagandists that are out there manipulating.
Right. It's all just
in real
people
time.
fucking shitting out words onto the internet.
That's been one of the wildest. Talk about thought exercises. That's been one of the wildest things about the last 3 years for me. Is that there's two things, we've talked about this on the podcast before. Is the first one is everything I've been right about or other people have been right about. The people who got mad at me for being right are now mad at me for pointing out that their people were wrong.
I've had a weird experience where the people who were initially mad at me about the way I felt about something, because I think a lot of the time it is difficult to be right or wrong, are still doubling down on their position.
100%.
It's just, they've just kind of changed the way they're looking at it, but they're still holding on
and
to
they're also taking, that's a great point, and they're taking some weird moral high ground where it's like, I was wrong, but for the right reasons.
Right.
You were right for the wrong reasons, and that matters.
Yeah.
No, it fucking doesn't matter. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And the other side of it too is how much and we've talked about this, how much has been flat out wrong in the news over the last 2 years.
Sure.
And then you think about history going back thousands of years. What the fuck? And we're supposed to take that as 100% gospel, that stuff is the truth, that happened as it happened. We don't even know what happened yesterday. We can't get the truth out.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole thing might be on a foundation of lies.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of foundations of a lot of lies out there that we're operating on for sure.
Is there a movie where you had a fight scene in it? Have you been in a fight scene outside of holding somebody over a over a ledge? Yeah.
Like a proper fight scene? Yeah, I've done fight scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think when you see fight scenes in movies, Mick? Are you like?
Depends. It depends.
Are you like this is legit, or are you just like guys, stop, guys? What are we doing here?
I've seen some legit ones. I feel like it's getting kind of more legit.
Getting better and better.
Yeah.
Are there are fight coordinators on set? I would imagine, right? Is this choreographed? Or?
Yeah, I will say that for this TV show, I said was my favorite job, Chance. I was playing a character that was based on a real guy, and this real guy, his job in life is to teach Tier 1 Special Forces dudes how to fight with knives.
Holy shit!
He is considered an edged weapon subject matter expert by the U.S. government, and he teaches, Navy SEALs, but also DevGru, which is SEAL Team 6. Like, he teaches Delta. He teaches, he goes in and he says, you're great with your gun. Now, here's what happens if you need to kill somebody with a knife. Here's how you use it. And they got him to do the stunt coordination for a movie with Tommy Lee Jones and Benicio del Toro called The Hunted. Did you see that?
I actually did see that. That was a very good movie.
Doing a bunch of knife fighting. And so I was playing him, so he came in and helped us with a lot of the fight scenes we do in that show.
I always think of Benicio del Toro as Brad Pitt with a tilde.
Sure.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
It's like Benicio del Pitt.
They even look kind of similar.
That's what I'm talking about. They look in the face. It's like it's Brad Pitt with a tilde. When you watch a movie, and is there a fight scene that sticks out to you that you think is like, man, that's legit, that's real?
No, not this stands out, but not because it wasn't, just because, I don't know.
Is there anything that sticks out to you when you're watching people fight where you're like, no, don't do that. No, that's not how it goes.
Man, nothing really sticks out. If I saw it, I'd be able to say it, but not that off the top of my head. No, I can't really. I'm trying to think, man. Nah, not that I could think of.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I've seen like some like stuff where you're like, okay, you know what I mean?
Like the power bomb from Kurt Angle in Warrior. I feel like you were liking the movie up to that very moment.
That's not really, man. That's the thing. Watching like the MMA movies, almost all of those, I'm like, nah,
zero.
Yeah.
Those are they're always like a little like corny, a little extra dramatic, but then also like. Yeah, I don't know. I wish I could get it. I wish there was one, but it makes sense. Like I said, that movie Whiplash, like the drumming movie, I love that movie. But I hear drummers hate that movie.
Really?
Yeah. So it makes sense. You know what I mean? I think it's not for me.
Bull Durham's one of the best baseball movies of all time, and Tim Robbins is one of the single worst pitchers in the history of film or cinema. I mean, that was unreal.
Yeah.
That was like ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Like was a pitcher. Like it was like, all right, you've never seen baseball in your life. This is what a windup is, and then there you go, CGI.
I love Interstellar, but I imagine if I was an astrophysicist and I was watching that movie, I'd be really bothered.
Yeah.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, I think, ripped that apart.
Yeah, fuck him.
Yeah.
I like that.
It was great.
Movie. I don't want to hear his critique of that.
Well, you've heard that too about Star Wars, where like scientists are like, there's no sound in space, and they roll their eyes, and it's like, what the fuck? It's a movie, man. Yeah, it's doof. Yeah, you can't knock away lasers with a fucking laser sword either. It's a cool movie, man.
Right.
Like I like that stuff. The suspension of disbelief stuff I like. What I don't like is Mickey Ward having losses he didn't have in real life and wins he didn't have, and making that into a movie while the guy's still alive. Why are we doing that?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. Like you're retconning a real guy's life. That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't. That's the stuff that drives me out of my mind, man. Like, even in your movie, Remember the Titans. Apparently, kind of didn't go down that way. Apparently,
I'm sure none of it went down that way.
yeah. Apparently, nobody kind of liked that character. They didn't like the guy. The guy was like a jerk, you know. And
I've heard that
Boone?
too.
Coach Boone was like, yeah. And the guy who played the asshole white guy who ends up learning his lesson at the end.
He was the nice one.
He was like the real guy. He was like, no, we got to bring these guys in. And
the guy who is Gary Bertier's friend, and then he
the coach.
Will Patton.
Oh, okay.
The white
right.
coach. He had the little blonde daughter.
Yost.
Yes, correct.
Coach Yost.
Correct. Yeah.
Yost, yeah.
Yeah, so like all that stuff drives me out of my mind. With Molly's Game is another one. Everybody loves Aaron Sorkin, everything he does, and I'm just sitting here going like, there's literally nothing Molly Bloom does not know for a fact, a 100% fact in that movie, and the idea that like nobody would take her as a client, it's complete fucking fiction. She had a team of 11 lawyers like immediately. Like that's the shit. It just drives me out of my mind. I don't understand why. I get movie magic or whatever, but like we're retconning real fucking events. That to me is just lying.
Well, I did another movie based on true events called Deepwater Horizon. And that, I will say, we went out of our way to portray everything that happened exactly as it happened. The people's family were on set. We were talking to, you know what I mean?
Like, that's sick.
That's not typical.
So do you think it's more careless that people, or is they're just being cutting corners?
I think it goes back and forth. One is like, you got to make a compelling movie, and reality isn't always conducive to a compelling movie.
Fair.
And so, you're going to hire Denzel Washington. You're going to make him the hero.
You have to.
He's not going to be the dick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if he is the dick, he's got to come around in the end. But that's not the story. The story is he's the really good coach that leads this team. Like, that's the story, that he couldn't get a job. Finally, he gets the job. There's pushback. Like, that's a better story than we brought this dude in. He was a fucking asshole.
True.
That's
fair.
Yeah.
Totally fair. Is there a movie that you were offered the role for, the Chaz Palminteri thing we were over, that you turned it down, and then in retrospect you were like, fuck?
Well, yes. Yeah. I mean, not quite fuck. There were two instances of this. There was a movie made called Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
I love that movie.
Awesome movie.
Big movie.
That I was the main guy in that.
No.
And then
I thought that was an Ethan Suplee role.
No, I wasn't in it.
No.
I was going to be.
I know.
Yeah.
When I watched it, I was like, this is an Ethan Suplee role. Man.
Yeah. And then I got
Alan.
My name
You were Alan Tudyk's guy.
friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the actor who did it's awesome.
He did great.
He's a buddy of mine. But like, I went and did My Name Is Earl. My Name Is Earl happened, and then I fell out of the movie. And I wished I had fought a little bit harder to make the schedules work. Mm-hmm. I don't know that I had any power over that at the time. And then I saw the movie and I was like, "Fuck! I really wish
film.
I had been in this movie." Like, and it was mine for a long time. I worked with the director, and that would have been awesome. And then I was offered a part in a movie called Good Times. Did you see this? Mm-mm. It's about New York and two brothers, and they get in trouble, and they're like having all this madcap adventures through the city. By these really smart filmmaker brothers named the Safdie brothers. And I was just lazily said, no, I don't want to come and do your movie. And I should have. I wish I had.
Interesting. Well, that's honest on your part. It would have been really easy for you to like make up a story there and be like,
No, I was literally just lazy. It was just like, do I want to go to New York right now and spend a couple weeks doing this movie? And no, I'm not going to do it.
It's low key one of the biggest flexes I've ever heard. Do I want to do this movie?
No, but I honestly today I'm like, don't do that again. That's stupid. Don't be lazy.
Now, the other side, are you going to be man enough to admit a role you took that you really wish you didn't?
I don't know. No, I don't think I am.
No, I won't name names.
Yeah.
That's funny. You got to ask your question. I got to give I actually brought you some gifts today.
Awesome.
So I grab these. I got you some battle bars and a little shirt.
Fuck yeah.
With some of our gym sponsors.
Thank you.
Yeah. And there's a big anticipation for this question. We got some new little gear here too.
Let's see, what are we working with? 17 grams of protein.
Yeah, I eat those like every day. Those battle bars.
Oh, this is awesome.
They're fire.
Thank you.
I got you 2 different sizes. I wasn't sure what you are. I know you got that. I got you XL and a 2X. I didn't know what you rock.
Well, I'm gonna take both because depending on whether I'm cutting or doing maintenance.
It's nice, right? That we just got those new takedown uniforms.
Clean, boy.
Awesome.
Yeah, but no, we all love seeing you in the gym and having you come through.
Yeah.
So yeah, we wanted to hook you up with some stuff, man.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, all right.
I'll wear it. I'll wear it. I gotta get a stretch here long enough to actually get back to training like that.
Yeah. So now we've come.
The big question?
All right. So here we go. We're gonna give you. There's a little bit of backstory on this question. Okay. Mickey is a big fan of the classics, and he was going out. He was reading the Iliad and the Odyssey, and we were talking about Helen of Troy, and we said, hey, if somebody had to play Helen of Troy today, who could carry the role? Who's the most beautiful woman in the world today? And we couldn't really settle on one, and then we settled on Margot Robbie. And then I lost my mind. I lost my mind a little bit because I said, Margot Robbie, as gorgeous as she is a 9.5 to a young Jamie Presley's 10. I remember a young Jamie Presley, and she was unreal. Unreal.
And you've worked with both.
And you've worked with both. Now, that got some flack from the comments. They're saying I'm crazy. They're saying Jamie Presley's nowhere near as good looking as Margot Robbie. And I'm saying you got to go back. You got to go back to not another teen movie
She's
Jamie
a
Presley.
smoke show.
You got to go back to Poison Ivy Jamie Presley. And this is not taking anything away from Margot Robbie. She's amazing.
No, they're both,
yeah. And then we realized, wait a minute. There's a man. There's a man who exists who's been on set with both Margot Robbie and Jamie Presley. So now it's up to you, Mr. Suplee.
But you're saying Jamie Presley in the 90s.
Yes, peak Presley. Not another teen movie Presley. Have you seen Jamie Presley and Poison Ivy?
I don't think so.
Have you ever seen the two of them side by side? Have you ever seen that?
Margot Robbie and Jamie Presley?
Yeah.
In real life?
Well, no, that's another low-key flex. No, neither have we. Amr, you might want to mark this because then we can cut it. I just want to show them the picture.
It up.
All right.
This is super awkward simply because I do know both.
Yeah, here we go.
I'm also married, so I don't like talk about how hot chicks are, really.
Okay.
How dare you?
Sure.
Yeah, it's see, I can't really pick a favorite between them. Right? I think they're both just like absolutely like top of the top.
We're doing this, guys.
Listen,
we're doing this.
I have a very. Have you ever heard the show Come Town?
Yeah.
So I have a very, like, if we were on Come Town right now,
Yeah.
I have a great answer.
We are.
But we're not. And
We are.
I'm married. I have 4 daughters and a granddaughter. And, like, I'm not just going to let my inner 14-year-old monologue loose for everyone.
Okay,
But I am
fair
going
enough.
to go with Jamie Presley. I think you are actually correct. And when we're not recording, I'll tell you why.
Aye, my man, pots and pans. I'll tell you what, man. And this is nothing against Margot Robbie. This is nothing against her.
beautiful.
She's unreal.
Jamie Presley's the American version.
Yeah, and also I think people see My Name Is Earl and they're like, well, that's who she is, you know? And she's this girl from in a trailer park in Waldorf,
white
Maryland or
trashy,
something. Yeah.
yeah.
And no, man. I mean, imagine them trying desperately to dress her down and her still being that hot, man. Like, and yeah, they're great actresses and everything else that won't get us canceled. They're probably brilliant people and philanthropists and all this other stuff too. But I just don't think Jamie Presley gets her flowers for the absolute icon smoke show that she was and is. And I don't know why. You tell somebody that Margot Robbie is the most beautiful actress in Hollywood, they won't even blink about it. They'll be like, yeah, that makes sense. But you say young Jamie Presley was just as good looking as Margot, they will be, you're out of your mind. You're crazy. People went apoplectic when I
Put
said
some
that.
respect on her name.
Put some respect on Jamie Presley's name. Damn it.
I agree.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I agree. And I think people are being short-sighted.
Really?
Yeah. I think if they really thought long and hard about this, they would come to the exact same conclusion that I've come to in my head that I'm not going to share.
Fair enough.
I just think people need to go out there and look a little harder.
They need to look a little harder. They need to look long and harder.
Yeah.
They need to get out there and get after it a little bit.
Yeah.
Do your research.
Do your research.
Do your
folks.
research. All right. Fake news is everywhere. AI, ChatGPT is taking over.
I got a final little listicle here. Top 3 foods.
Yeah.
Top like meals, right? And top 3 movies. G, you can go first if you want to think. for a second,
Wait.
unless you got it.
Top 3 that I eat now, or top 3?
No, like just like
There's a meteor. There's a meteor about to hit
Fantasyland,
Earth.
Like
Oh,
we're
gotcha,
we call them
gotcha.
cheat meals,
Sure.
or whatever you go with.
Top 3 foods is a coursed out meal at Carbone. You know Carbone?
No,
We get it. You're a movie star, Ethan. What the fuck?
It's an Italian restaurant. They got one.
I know.
They got one in Miami. They got one here at the
Yeah.
fucking Boca Resort 2 blocks away.
Yep.
I think it's a parm, so it's like the peasant version of
come
Carbone.
on. Yeah.
You know,
I would never be caught dead.
their chicken parm is like $25.
Oh,
you
it's
could eat that. But you could go in and just say you want a coursed out meal, and they'll do 7 course. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
we did that at Chaz Palminteri's restaurant,
That's-
and
yeah.
they like hooked it up. Like,
Shout out our
whatever
boy
the chef wants
Jeff
to make.
Fromm.
Yeah,
that's sick.
incredible.
That's a cool way to live, man.
There's a restaurant, and I'm blanking on the name. I've eaten there a couple of times in Madrid, Spain, and it's the oldest operating ovens. Like, different people have owned the restaurants, but the ovens have been in operation for 600 years,
Wow.
700 years, something like that. And they've been cooking the same shit for that long, which is roast suckling pig and roast suckling lamb. And that would be on there.
Wait, I got to go back. Carbone. So what are you getting when you get the coursed out?
Carbone, they always have a special appetizer, so it'll be like a burrata cheese with a caponata on it or something like that. But it's changed many times. Then they have carpaccio with truffles, which is insane. A couple pasta dishes, and you do like a side-by-side pasta, 2 pasta dishes.
A little mushroom ravioli.
G's hard.
Insane.
God, between Jamie
Bricked
Presley
up.
and a 7 course at Carbone, my heart might explode.
And then we do a veal parm and a sole.
Dude, I go veal parm over chicken parm.
Fuck yeah.
Thank you.
fuck?
Thank you.
Fucking
A lot of
veal
people
parm.
disagree
veal
with that.
piccata, veal marsala, chicken parm,
Nah,
Veal
bro.
parm.
Veal
I go
parm
veal-
over chicken parm.
I
man.
go anytime.
steak pizzaiole over veal parm.
I go veal whenever I can. If there's veal, I'm getting veal. If I'm not fucking concerned with how I'm eating slaughtered baby cows.
Slaughtered baby cow.
Yeah. It's
Wow.
fucking good. It's so good.
Sorry you had to hear that, producer Christian.
Yeah,
with the
sorry,
stripper
sorry,
girlfriend.
vegan stripper
Is he
girlfriend.
vegan too?
Sorry,
Jesus
stripper girlfriend
Christ.
Christian. Yeah.
And then what comes after that?
Christian's in love with his stripper girlfriend. Do you think 6 months from now when you come back on the pod, are they still together?
No way.
No shot, right?
No way.
No way. No way. Right now, he is in the throes of the siren song of professional pussy. And
Yeah.
I don't want to break
The
his
throes of the siren song of professional pussy.
That's
Wow.
right. Yeah, he's.
Wow, dude.
Yeah, I got faith in you. You can make it work. As the great philosopher said, you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. Hoes don't act right.
Easy, dog. Talk about my
Hoes on
man's
a
girl
mission.
over there.
Hoes on a
Sheesh.
I'm just speaking in general terms. So anyway,
Speaking
back to
philosophically.
just a philosophize. And so go ahead.
Carbone
Yep.
and then tiramisu.
Oh, baby.
I'm not a tiramisu guy.
I'm not really I'm not a dessert guy. I'd rather have carrot cake than tiramisu, but that's what they serve at.
Oh, I'm sorry. You were still going to carbone. I thought that was your third.
love
No,
meal.
my
Okay,
third,
gotcha.
my
Love
third
it.
would
Love
be.
it.
I'd go with tartufo over tiramisu if I was at like an Italian restaurant.
Yeah, I just don't really care about desserts. I'd rather go
Carrot
double down
cake's
on.
dope too.
Yeah, I'd rather double down on the veal parm.
Yes,
No
me
accounting
too.
for taste, I suppose.
Yeah.
Me too.
Third, there's a restaurant which is closed now called Prune in New York, and they had two insane starters: radishes and butter. That's it. That's the whole dish, and bone marrow and toast.
Ooh,
And I could just go and do that as a meal.
I fucks with
Delicious.
bone marrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, on a nice like crostini.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Can you give us your three real quick? I know we've done this before, but these change over time. You know what I
Not
mean?
really, man.
You're the same?
Right now, I'm not going to say steak. I love a great steak. It's hard to mess up a beautiful steak. I mean, a little Chateaubriand. I love it. Give me a Chateaubriand au poivre. Chateaubriand au poivre at a nice place is delicious. Can't beat chicken parm. I love it to death. I love chicken parm so much. Can I take that Chateaubriand I said and just turn it into like fogo de chao churrasco and just put that nonstop meat?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
That's what I'm gonna do.
It's your world, baby.
It's
You can do whatever you want.
$65, and now I've gotten cocky. Now that I know that you can do this, I never knew you could do this. You can request. You just keep bringing along the filet mignon and the filet flank, and they try to sneak in with a chicken heart every now and then. I said, get that crap out of here.
Yeah, you flip the thing.
Yeah.
Red.
Do you want a bacon wrapped chicken? I don't. And then it gets sad as they walk away. I'm eating $300 worth of meat every time I go there. It's phenomenal. Don't do the salad bar either. That's a trap.
That's a
That's a trap. Rookie mistake.
I like to
That's a
go to the
trap.
salad bar for some sauces. They got some chimichurri up there.
yes.
They got
That's a
farofa.
move.
You know what? They put it up there instead of on the table specifically so that you'll
Go
walk
there.
by that candied bacon and all the other cheap stuff that they're trying to get you to fill up on. I know your game, Fogo de Chao. I love you though. God, I love you. I'll go Fogo de Chao. I'll go. It's tough to beat a chicken parm. I love like Carmine's chicken parm back in the day, that family style when they roast the top. I love that to death. And then I got to tell you, you've kind of turned me on to Indian food, man. I'm a big butter chicken guy now. I love me some butter chicken. I love it. Butter chicken, it's somewhere between butter chicken. You know what, man? If I was on my deathbed and I had to order something, if there was a comet coming down and I was going to do the fat guy trio thing, I'd probably do chicken parm with a whole bunch of egg rolls around it. That would probably be what I did. I'd probably eat a
That's
bunch
very
of
New York.
I'd probably do it. Yeah, do a bunch of egg rolls, chicken parm. Get a 6-pack of High Life and watch the sun go down. Yeah, that's
you
probably
go.
what I would do. What about you, Mick?
I go
Tuna fish and cabbage.
Yeah, right. I gotta go. That goat curry I get from Miami Spice Guru, so freaking good. It's amazing. I don't know what the curry, the sauce.
See, I like Deck and
rice
Spice
with-
better than Miami Spice Guru. I like
Not
Deck and
me,
Spice.
bro.
Yeah.
Not me.
Where's Miami Spice Guru?
It's right over on Atlantic. It's like down by the bridge.
Yeah.
It's freaking awesome. Yeah. If you ever want to go, take you there sometime. It's awesome. It's like literally become like my favorite meal in the world. Then I gotta go. I'm going a bison burger with sweet potato fries. Everything like a burger, but some bison meat in there. And then the last one, I gotta go for old Mama Gall's meatballs and a chicken cutlet.
That's right. You did this to me last time
Yeah.
too. With the, talking about your, and now I feel like the worst human being ever.
Yeah, well, you're a piece of shit. I love my mom. It is what it is.
Damn.
And then
you got me again.
real quick before we got to go, my top 3 movies. I think I had to go with Pulp Fiction. I want to say The Godfathers, but so let's just pick one.
1 and 2.
Yeah, exactly, right. And man, sometimes it's like I go with that. I think I'm going with Lock, Stock, and 2 Smoking Barrels. The way that all comes together.
Solid.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah.
My favorite movie is Lawrence of Arabia. I love Lawrence of Arabia.
Arabia.
Charlton Heston. Was that Lawrence Olivier?
Laurence Olivier. I think, yeah. And Interstellar, just because we were talking about it, and I love that.
That was
movie.
great.
Yeah, and I have daughters, and it always makes me think about the relationship of a father and his daughter.
Yeah, it's got to pull on the heartstrings there. I remember watching the movie Gravity, which is what it keeps reminding me of. And I remember I took like a little edible before watching it, and in that part where she's like has to like hold her breath going through space, I was in the theater in like the IMAX, like holding my breath. I was like, like I was holding my breath for as long as I could.
Yeah.
I was in the moment, guys.
Yeah.
Forget suspension of disbelief. I was, going through space.
You were
I was
experiencing
in space.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe Once Upon a Time in America. That's a good movie.
That's a long movie,
Yeah.
man. That's
Yeah,
long.
the 5-hour director's cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one James Woods.
I gotta check that
stay
out.
Awake through. All right, that was a great. I'll go Apocalypse Now. It used to be Old School was my number 2, but upon further review, I think Forgetting Sarah Marshall is a better comedy. Every time I watch Forgetting Sarah Marshall, there is something different I see that is hilarious. But I mean, Old School, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Caddyshack, they're all right there for what I think are the best, comedies ever made.
Those movies, by the way, were a good era of comedies. Still not the amount of boobs that we were accustomed to as kids.
Yeah, not enough.
Yeah.
I agree. Not enough boobs. Not enough Shannon Elizabeth either at all. Yeah, 100% agreed on that. And I'll put that in that one category. And then I'd say either I go back and forth between Schindler's List or La Vita Bella La Vita Bella makes me cry my eyes out for days. But I think Schindler's List is probably a better overall movie.
Pretty fucking great.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. And incredibly acted. I mean, that's, yeah.
I loved Inglourious Bastards.
Love
too.
it.
Yes.
Inglourious
Love it.
Bastards. Would be
Tarantino and
nice.
Scorsese, like anything they do, I can't miss with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I loved Inglourious as well.
Yeah, and you like Guy Ritchie, so you like British Tarantino, you like Quentin Tarantino, British Tarantino, and Italian Tarantino. That's what you like.
Tarantino,
Yeah, that's The Brad Pitt to me just makes Inglourious Bastards so watchable over
it's
and over.
amazing.
So good.
Yeah.
Sometimes do you think
That was one that I was in my head too when you were when I was listening to them. I was thinking about that one.
that's got to be a cool feeling as an actor when you get that script and you're like, I'm gonna fucking nail
I'm going
this
to be
line.
a Nazi.
I'm gonna nail this line right here, man.
Yeah.
One question before we go. Gotta ask it. The party sequence, the wedding sequence in Wolf of Wall Street, the dancing, all that. Yeah. Where does that come from? Are you're sober when you're filming that, right?
Yep.
I'm assuming this is a professional set. How is everybody getting into character for that? And was the actual music playing in it?
There was actual music playing. Nobody was drinking or doing drugs. It was just having fun dancing.
Just getting really.
Yeah.
That movie's in my top 5 as well.
That's become such an iconic scene, and then it turned into the EDM hit of 2018 too, man.
Yeah. By the way, in the 90s, I definitely did movies where being a sober person, you're now like kind of the last guy to know when shit's happening, when people are doing stuff at work that I'm just not doing. But there were definitely movies where stuff was real.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Really?
That's
Sure.
wild.
Yeah.
Some of your early days, I would imagine.
Yeah. I mean, I did do a movie called Blow.
Yeah,
And
with a guy who's pretty.
yeah, we had fun.
Was Marilyn Manson on set at all back then, or
No.
no? Must have been wild watching that Amber Heard thing going. That's my boy Johnny.
Yeah. Oh, that was crazy.
Yeah.
But he fared pretty well.
He came out on top.
Yeah.
And which is crazy because they tried to cancel him. They got him out of his movies. They
think
they
he was
destroyed him
canceled for a while.
Yeah,
I
they
hope
got
he's
him out of
uncanceled.
the pirate movies
Yeah.
there. And then
Yeah.
we're watching, everybody and their mother's watching this and going, what the fuck?
He's a good guy.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
This guy has the patience of a saint.
Yeah.
I mean, you shit on my bed? I got to tell you. Oh, shit.
That's the end of the relationship right there.
Yeah, I think we're ended up in
know,
court.
right, yeah.
We definitely still ended up in court, me and you.
Yeah.
But it ain't so
look at you the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shit's gonna change.
Shit gonna change.
You just change shit.
Man, Ethan, we could talk to you for another 2 hours, dude. This is incredible, man. We got to have you back on. Please tell people about American Glutton, where they can find you, and if you have any shows or movies that you've done that you think outside of your premiere catalog that you think people should check out.
Chance on Hulu is my favorite job I've ever had, and my favorite thing I've ever done. I think it's awesome. And there's 20 great episodes on Hulu. And you can find me on Instagram and Twitter, but I don't do Twitter, but I am there occasionally.
And take away your blue check mark.
Probably. Did they do that recently?
Yeah,
they
took mine down.
Yeah.
He's still in recovery in the morning.
I haven't paid attention to Twitter. Twitter is like just Twitter is the bathroom.
They won't let him in Carbone anymore, buddy. They won't let him in Carbone.
Right.
He can't get a seat at Dorsey anymore.
Fuck. Shit's getting bad.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Ethan Suplee, this was
thank you, brother.
Absolute
Thank you, guys.
honor.
Absolutely.
An absolute honor for Omri Online, for Christian with the stripper girlfriend to our right. Love you, buddy. For the great Mickey Gall, I am Gerard Michaels. This has been Slick and Thick. We will see you Monday at 1.
Peace.